Have you ever felt like you arrived on this planet with the wrong instruction manual, as if everyone around you received a clear blueprint for navigating life while you were handed a cryptic map written in a language you're still learning to decipher? This sensation, this deep existential bewilderment that seems to permeate every fiber of your being, is not a mistake. It is not a sign that something is fundamentally wrong with you. It is perhaps the most crucial clue to understanding why your soul chose to incarnate during these particular times of unprecedented transformation and chaos. If you were born in this decade, or came of age during these years of collective awakening, your consciousness was programmed not for comfort, but for something far more profound and necessary. You were designed to get lost, so that you could find something that previous generations couldn't even imagine existed. Think of a seed buried deep in the forest floor. To the casual observer, it appears lost, forgotten, disconnected from the light that gives life. But that seed carries within its genetic code not just the memory of what it once was, but the blueprint of what it is destined to become. The darkness that surrounds it is not its enemy. It is the necessary condition for its transformation. The soil that seems to imprison it is actually the medium through which it will draw the nutrients needed for unprecedented growth. Your sense of being lost, your feeling of disconnection from the mainstream narrative of success and happiness that society has prescribed, is not evidence of your failure. It is evidence that you are undergoing a metamorphosis that most people around you cannot comprehend because they are still operating from an older paradigm of consciousness. The old maps that guided previous generations were created for a world that no longer exists. They were designed for linear progression, for predictable outcomes, for lives that followed well-worn paths from birth to education, to career, to retirement, to death. But you arrived during the great unraveling, during the time when all the old certainties are being questioned, when the very foundations of reality are shifting beneath our feet. The institutions that once provided stability and meaning are crumbling. The belief systems that once offered clear answers are revealing their limitations. The social structures that once defined identity and purpose are being exposed as constructs rather than absolute truths. And you, dear soul, were not sent here to repair these dying systems. You were sent here to compost them, to transform their decay into the fertile ground from which something entirely new can grow. This is why you feel so disoriented. You are trying to navigate a world in transition using tools that were designed for a static reality. You are attempting to find your place in structures that are in the process of dissolving. But this disorientation, this sense of not belonging anywhere, is actually your spiritual GPS recalibrating. It is your soul's way of preventing you from settling for anything less than your authentic path. Every moment of confusion you experience is your higher self protecting you from investing your precious life force in pursuits that would ultimately leave you empty and disconnected from your true purpose. The lost feeling is not a destination. It is a compass pointing you toward something that has never existed before but is desperately needed in the world. I want to pause for a moment and ask you directly, when did you first realize that the conventional path everyone expected you to follow felt like wearing clothes that were tailored for someone else's body? That moment when you looked around at what others called success and achievement and felt not envy but a strange emptiness, as if you were watching a movie about a life that had nothing to do with your actual purpose. I know this experience can be profoundly isolating. You see people around you seeming to thrive within systems that drain your very life force, and you begin to wonder if there's something fundamentally wrong with your wiring. The most challenging part isn't even your own confusion. It's the pressure from well-meaning friends and family who cannot understand why you won't just choose a direction and stick to it, why you won't settle down, why you won't be practical. I want you to know that your reluctance to commit to paths that don't resonate with your deepest knowing is not indecision or laziness. It is wisdom. It is your soul's way of preserving your energy for something that matters more than you can currently imagine. Your feeling of being programmed differently isn't a burden to overcome. It's a gift to be unwrapped slowly and consciously. And that's why I'd like to invite you to share a fragment of your experience in the comments below. You can simply copy this phrase and complete it. I knew I was different when wow. By doing this, you not only validate your own experience, but you also create a beacon for someone else who might be reading this feeling completely alone in their confusion. Your story might be exactly what another lost soul needs to hear to realize that their wandering has purpose, that their inability to fit into conventional molds is actually evidence of their deeper calling. This invisible community of souls who don't quite fit anywhere is actually the emerging consciousness of our planet. We are the ones who cannot ignore the contradictions in the old systems. We are the ones whose hearts break a little more each day watching a world that has lost touch with its own sacred nature. We are the ones who feel called to something we cannot yet name, but know with absolute certainty is more real than anything we've been told is important. Now let's continue our exploration of what it means to be programmed for this beautiful, necessary lostness that is actually the beginning of finding something the world has been waiting for. The programming you received before incarnating into this lifetime was not random. It was carefully calibrated for the specific challenges and opportunities of this historical moment. Previous generations received programming optimized for stability, for building within established frameworks, for expanding and perfecting existing structures. But you received something different. You received the programming of the bridge builders, the reality weavers, the consciousness pioneers who would live during the transition between worlds. This is why traditional success formulas feel hollow to you. This is why conventional wisdom often sounds like a foreign language. This is why you feel homesick for a place you've never been and nostalgic for a future you've never experienced. Your soul chose to incarnate during the collapse of one age and the birth of another precisely because you carry within your consciousness the codes necessary for this transition. The feelings of displacement you experience are not indicators that you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. They are indicators that you're exactly where you need to be, feeling exactly what needs to be felt, questioning exactly what needs to be questioned. You are not broken, you are breaking open, you are not lost, you are pioneering new territory, you are not behind, you are ahead of a curve that most people don't even know exists yet. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The lostness you experience is not just personal, it is collective. You are feeling on behalf of all humanity the disorientation that comes with rapid evolutionary change. You are processing through your individual nervous system the confusion that arises when an entire species realizes that its old ways of thinking and being are no longer adequate for the challenges it faces. You are not just finding your own way, you are pathfinding for others who will follow. Every moment of uncertainty you navigate with grace and consciousness creates a little more space in the collective field for others to do the same. This is why your journey cannot be rushed or forced into conventional timelines. You are not just choosing a career. You are discovering entirely new ways of contributing to the world. You are not just finding your tribe. You are helping to create new forms of community based on authentic connection, rather than shared limitations. You are not just healing your own wounds. You are participating in the healing of ancestral patterns and collective trauma that has been passed down for generations. The scope of what you are actually doing is so much larger than what it appears to be on the surface. And yet this understanding doesn't make the day-to-day experience any easier. In fact, it sometimes makes it harder. When you realize the magnitude of the transformation you are part of, the isolation can feel even more intense. You look around and see most people still operating as if the old world is permanent, still chasing goals and dreams that feel increasingly empty to you. You watch friends and family investing their energy in pursuits that you can see are built on foundations of sand, and you feel the weight of carrying a vision that you cannot yet fully articulate, a knowing that is stronger than any belief you've ever held, but more elusive than any certainty you've ever grasped. This is the loneliness of the pioneer, the solitude of the trailblazer who must walk ahead of the group to determine where the path actually leads. It is not a loneliness that can be solved by finding more people. It is a loneliness that can only be transformed by recognizing it as a sacred duty. You are alone in the way that explorers are alone, not because they are abandoned, but because they are willing to go places where no one has gone before. Your lostness is not evidence of your confusion. It is evidence of your courage. But here's what most people don't understand about this kind of divine lostness. It is temporary. It is not your permanent state, but a transitional phase that serves a specific purpose. Just as the caterpillar must completely dissolve before it can become a butterfly, you must experience the dissolution of your old identity before you can embody your true nature. The confusion you feel is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It is a sign that you're doing something unprecedented. You are literally becoming someone who has never existed before while living in a world that is transforming into something that has never existed before. This process cannot be hurried, but it can be supported. It cannot be controlled, but it can be trusted. The most important thing you can do during this time of sacred disorientation is to resist the pressure to premature closure. Don't let fear or social expectations force you into commitments that are too small for your soul. Don't let the discomfort of uncertainty drive you back into familiar patterns that no longer serve you. Instead, learn to become comfortable with not knowing, to find stability in change, to discover identity in transformation itself. Practice viewing your lostness as a form of prayer. a way of asking the universe to show you possibilities that your limited imagination could never conceive. See your confusion as a kind of meditation, a state of open receptivity to guidance that can only come through stillness and surrender. Understand your wandering as a form of research, a way of gathering experiences and insights that will inform the work you came here to do in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Most importantly, remember that the feeling of being lost is often the last experience we have before finding something extraordinary. It is the darkness before the dawn, the silence before the song, the emptiness before the birth. Your soul knew when it chose this lifetime that you would have to walk through this valley of unknowing. It knew that you would have to feel completely disconnected from everything familiar before you could connect to something authentic. It knew that you would have to lose yourself completely before you could find the self that was always there, waiting beneath all the layers of conditioning and expectation. So trust the timing of your unfolding. Trust that your confusion is intelligent. Trust that your restlessness is guiding you toward something worth waiting for. Trust that your inability to settle for less than what truly calls to you is not a weakness, but a strength. Trust that you were programmed to get lost because you were also programmed to find your way to something beautiful, something necessary, something that the world needs more than you can possibly imagine right now. What wants to be born through you is still forming in the invisible realms. What wants to express itself as your life is still gathering the courage to reveal itself. What wants to serve the world through your unique gifts is still learning how to speak through your voice, how to create through your hands, how to love through your heart. Be patient with this process. Be gentle with your uncertainty. Be compassionate with your confusion. You are not behind schedule. You are not missing deadlines set by others. You are not failing at life. You are succeeding at something much more difficult and important. You are allowing yourself to be remade at the deepest level. You are participating consciously in your own evolution. You are saying yes to becoming someone you have never been in service of something the world has never seen. If these reflections on sacred lostness and divine timing touched something deep within you, know that you have found your way to exactly where you need to be. This exploration of consciousness and transformation can feel incredibly lonely when those around you don't understand the journey you're on. It's precisely for this reason that we've created this space, this sanctuary for souls like you, who are navigating between the world that was and the world that is becoming. By subscribing to this channel, you become part of a quiet revolution of consciousness, a community of people who, like you, refuse to settle for lives that are too small for their souls. Each reflection we share is like a lighthouse beam cutting through the fog of confusion, offering new perspectives on how to trust your unique path when the world around you cannot understand it. We're not here to offer easy answers or quick fixes to the beautiful complexity of your awakening. We're here to walk together through the mystery, to explore the depths of consciousness with honesty and wonder, to validate your experience when the world around you insists you should have it all figured out by now. If you feel programmed differently, if you sense that your confusion is actually a form of clarity, if you know that your restlessness is guiding you toward something extraordinary, this channel is your home. Subscribe and allow yourself to be nourished by reflections that honor both the difficulty and the beauty of your transformation. Together, we form an invisible network of evolving souls, each walking our own path, but connected by our shared commitment to authentic becoming. A simple click on the subscription button is a quiet declaration. I too am on this journey. I too trust the mystery of my unfolding. And in a world that often pressures us to know exactly who we are and where we're going, this shared commitment to embracing the unknown is a revolutionary act of faith in the intelligence of life itself. The phenomenon of feeling programmed differently runs deeper than personal psychology or individual quirks of personality. What you are experiencing is actually a form of species-level mutation occurring in real time. Human consciousness is undergoing an unprecedented acceleration, and you are among the first wave of individuals whose nervous systems have been calibrated to process frequencies of reality that were previously accessible only to mystics, shamans, and those who dedicated their entire lives to spiritual practice. This is not metaphorical language or New Age wishful thinking. This is a biological and consciousness evolution happening at a rate that would have been impossible to imagine even 50 years ago. The restlessness you feel when you try to engage with conventional life structures is your organism's way of protecting you from environments that would literally suppress your expanding capacity for awareness. Your inability to find satisfaction in pursuits that once seemed meaningful is not a personal failing. It is an evolutionary imperative. You cannot pour your expanding consciousness into containers that were designed for a more limited version of human potential. It would be like trying to contain an ocean in a teacup. The vessel would either shatter, or the ocean would have to diminish itself to fit, and neither option serves the greater purpose of your becoming. This is why you often feel like you're living in slow motion, while everyone around you seems to be racing toward destinations that hold no appeal for you. You are operating on a different timeline altogether. While others are still concerned with horizontal expansion, accumulating more possessions, achievements, experiences, within the same plane of consciousness, you are being drawn into vertical expansion, into dimensions of being that most people don't even know exist. This vertical orientation requires a completely different approach to life, one that prioritizes depth over breadth, meaning over momentum, being over doing. The programming you received includes an innate understanding that the most important work you can do in this lifetime is internal. Not internal in the sense of self-obsession or narcissistic preoccupation, but internal in the sense of creating space within your own consciousness for new frequencies of truth and love and creativity to anchor into physical reality. You are not just finding yourself. You are literally creating new templates of human possibility that others will be able to access because you had the courage to explore uncharted territories of consciousness. This is why your path often feels so solitary. You are not following well-worn trails. You are creating them. You are not joining existing movements. You are birthing something that doesn't yet exist. You are not adapting to current reality. You are helping to construct a new one. This kind of work cannot be done in groups or committees or through external validation. It requires a quality of aloneness that most people find terrifying, but that you are learning to embrace as sacred solitude. The world you see crumbling around you is not dying because it was fundamentally evil or wrong, but because it was a necessary stage in human development that has now served its purpose. Like a snake shedding its skin or a tree releasing its leaves in autumn, humanity is letting go of structures and beliefs that were once protective and necessary, but are now constraining growth. The systems of education, economics, politics, and social organization that seemed permanent and essential are revealing themselves to be temporary constructions that must be transformed to accommodate the emerging human being. You were born to be a conscious participant in this great transformation. Your sensitivity to the limitations of current structures is not oversensitivity, it is accurate perception. Your difficulty finding your place in institutions that are becoming obsolete is not personal inadequacy, it is evolutionary intelligence. Your reluctance to invest your life force in pursuits that feel meaningless is not laziness, it is discrimination based on a deeper knowing of what truly matters. But this understanding can create its own form of suffering. When you see clearly how much of what passes for normal life is actually a kind of collective sleepwalking, when you perceive the tragic waste of human potential that occurs when people spend their entire lives pursuing goals that will never bring them genuine fulfillment, when you witness the environmental and social destruction that results from consciousness that has lost touch with its own sacred nature, the weight of this awareness can feel overwhelming. This is the burden of the awakening ones, the cross that consciousness bears when it begins to see through the illusions that keep most people comfortable in their limitations. You feel not just your own pain, but the pain of the world. You grieve not just your own losses, but the losses of everyone who has never been given permission to discover who they really are. You carry not just your own healing, but the healing that wants to happen for all of humanity. And yet this very capacity to feel so deeply, to see so clearly, to care so much, is exactly what makes you qualified for the work you came here to do. The same sensitivity that makes it difficult for you to function in unconscious environments is what makes you capable of perceiving and transmitting frequencies of consciousness that can awaken others. The same refusal to accept superficial explanations that makes you seem difficult or demanding is what makes you capable of penetrating to the heart of what is really happening on this planet. You are not too sensitive for this world. This world is not sensitive enough, and you are here to help change that. You are not too deep for normal conversation. Normal conversation is too shallow, and you are here to model what authentic communication looks like. You are not expecting too much from life. Most people are expecting too little, and you are here to demonstrate what becomes possible when someone actually lives according to their highest values and deepest knowing. The programming you received includes an unshakable faith in the fundamental goodness of existence, even when evidence to the contrary seems overwhelming. This is not naive optimism or spiritual bypassing. This is a profound recognition that what appears to be chaos and destruction is actually the necessary turbulence that accompanies any major transformation. You understand at a cellular level that death and birth are intimately connected, that breakdown and breakthrough are two faces of the same process, that what looks like an ending is often a beginning in disguise. This is why you feel simultaneously heartbroken about the state of the world and inexplicably hopeful about its future. You can see the catastrophic consequences of unconscious living, while also perceiving the extraordinary possibilities that become available when consciousness awakens to its true nature. You grieve the old world that is dying, while celebrating the new world that is being born. You hold space for both the sorrow and the joy, the fear and the excitement, the despair and the wonder. Your capacity to embrace paradox, to hold apparently contradictory truths simultaneously, is one of your greatest gifts to a world that has been trapped in either-or thinking for far too long. You demonstrate through your very being that it is possible to be realistic about current challenges while remaining open to miraculous solutions. You show through your example that one can be deeply concerned about global problems while maintaining trust in the intelligence of life itself. You prove through your existence that awakening consciousness does not require detachment from the world's suffering, but rather deeper engagement with it from a place of love rather than fear. The times of confusion and disorientation you experience are actually initiations, rites of passage that are preparing you for levels of responsibility and service that would have been impossible to accept from your previous level of consciousness. Each time you feel completely lost, you are being invited to release another layer of who you thought you were supposed to be, so that you can discover more of who you actually are. Each time you feel like you don't belong anywhere, you are being prepared to create new forms of belonging that are based on authentic connection, rather than conformity to external expectations. Your soul chose to incarnate during this particular window of time because it wanted to participate in the most exciting adventure in human history. The transformation that is occurring now is not just another cycle of cultural change or political upheaval. This is a fundamental shift in the nature of human consciousness itself. You are witnessing and participating in the birth of a new kind of human being, one who is capable of living simultaneously in multiple dimensions of reality, one who can function effectively in the physical world while maintaining constant connection to spiritual dimensions, one who can engage fully with material life while never forgetting the sacred nature of existence. This new human is not a fantasy or a distant possibility. It is what you are becoming right now. Through every moment of confusion you navigate with grace, through every conventional option you reject in favor of something more authentic, through every time you choose love over fear, even when fear seems more reasonable. You are not preparing for some future awakening. You are awakening now. You are not getting ready to make a difference. You are making a difference by the very quality of consciousness you bring to each moment. The feelings of alienation and displacement that have characterized so much of your journey are beginning to transform into something else entirely. Not the belonging that comes from finding your tribe, though that may happen too, but the belonging that comes from recognizing your essential connection to all of life. Not the security that comes from external validation, though that may also arrive, but the security that comes from knowing yourself as an expression of the same intelligence that moves the stars and grows the flowers and beats your heart without any effort from your conscious mind. You are beginning to remember that you were never actually lost. You were always exactly where you needed to be, feeling exactly what you needed to feel, learning exactly what you needed to learn. The programming that made you feel different from others was not a mistake or a burden. It was a gift, a calling, a sacred assignment that you accepted before you even took your first breath in this body. You came here to be a bridge between worlds, a translator between dimensions, a demonstration of what becomes possible when a human being remembers their true nature while living fully in the physical realm. Trust this remembering. Trust this unfolding. Trust that your confusion was intelligent and your wandering was purposeful, and your refusal to settle was wise. Trust that everything you have experienced, including the pain and the loneliness and the overwhelming sense of not belonging, has been preparing you for a form of service that is unlike anything the world has seen before. You were programmed to get lost, so that you could find not just yourself, but new ways of being human that will light the path for others to follow. Your lostness was never the problem. It was always the solution.